You ever get that feeling? That feeling that everyone is, well, judging you? It's that little voice that stops you right in your tracks. In this explainer, we're going to dig into why that fear of judgment feels so incredibly powerful, and more importantly, how you can start to break free from it. This question. What will people think? It just echoes in your head, doesn't it? The moment before you do something, this one little thought can build a giant wall of doubt. You've got an idea, a desire, an opinion, and then you freeze, all because of this one single paralyzing question. So picture this. You've got a photo you actually really like. You're just about to share it, but then you pause. You start to zoom in. You start over-analyzing every little detail, imagining what someone might think or a negative comment they might leave. And just like that, the joy is gone. You hit delete. The fear won. Or how about this one? You're in a meeting, maybe a classroom. You absolutely know the answer. You have something valuable to say. But that fear of being wrong, of being judged by everyone there, it keeps your mouth shut. You let the moment pass you by, and with it, a chance to really show up. It even creeps into how we just exist in the world. You put on an outfit that makes you feel amazing, that feels like you. But then that little voice pipes up. Is this too much? What are people going to say? So you change. You put on something safer, something a little less you. So why does this happen? Look, it's not a personal weakness, not at all. It's actually a feature of our brain's ancient operating system. Let's get into the wiring that makes you feel like you're constantly under a spotlight. Your brain has this thing called a social approval system. For our ancestors, thousands of years ago, being accepted by the tribe meant survival. Getting kicked out was a death sentence. That ancient system is still running today, and it treats social rejection, even something as small as a weird look, like a genuine physical threat. So it really breaks down into two things. On one side, you have that ancient survival instinct screaming, fit in. And on the other, you've got modern brain chemistry. When you get positive feedback, a compliment, a like on a post, your brain gives you a little hit of dopamine. It feels good. And that creates a cycle where you start craving that external validation to feel good about yourself. But here is the secret, and this is the part that changes everything. That intense spotlight you feel shining on you, it's mostly in your own head. The reality is, most people are completely wrapped up in their own lives, worrying about the spotlight on them. They're just not thinking about you that much. This whole reliance on what other people think, it creates what we can call the validation trap. It's the cycle where your confidence becomes totally dependent on outside approval, basically putting your entire sense of self-worth in other people's hands. You know, when we fall into this validation trap, our confidence can start to look a lot like this. The huge majority of it comes from external stuff, likes, praise, people agreeing with us, and only this tiny little sliver comes from our own self-approval. This makes our confidence really unstable. The moment the praise stops, our self-worth just collapses. Okay, so this is the turning point. Knowing why you feel this way is a huge first step, but the real power comes from learning how to shift that balance. So how do you stop outsourcing your confidence and start building it from the inside out? How do you take back control? Well, it comes down to a really practical 4-step framework. These aren't magic tricks, okay? They're just conscious actions you can start taking to reclaim your personal freedom. All right, step 1, question those thoughts. When you think everyone is going to judge me, stop and ask, is that a fact or is it just an assumption I'm making? Step 2, shift your focus. Instead of asking, what will they think, actively ask yourself, what do I think? That puts you right back in the driver's seat. Third, you've got to accept that judgment is going to happen. You will never, ever please everyone, and trying to is just exhausting. And finally, step 4, take small, bold actions. Post the photo, speak up, act, even when you feel the fear. See, every single time you post that photo or speak up in that meeting or wear what you want to wear, you are actively retraining your brain. You're giving it new evidence, showing it that social judgment isn't actually a life or death situation. You're building a new muscle, a new habit of confidence. So when you boil it all down, it really comes to a fundamental choice. A choice about how you want to live your life. It's a choice between two very different paths. And those two paths lead to totally different places. On one side, you have a life that's driven by what other people think. That leads to a shaky, unstable confidence, constant anxiety. You just don't have control. But on the other side, you have a life built on your own validation. And that leads to stable, resilient confidence. It leads to freedom. It puts the control back where it belongs, with you. People will always have opinions. That's a fact of life you just can't change. But what you can change, what you absolutely have power over, is how much you let those opinions control you. So the real question isn't, will people judge me? It's, will I let that judgment stop me from living my own life?